Okay, we are doing... Actually, here, I might turn this down a little bit. Okay, we're doing the Fallout DLC tier list. Not including 7, though. It's because I haven't played these. I played 76, like, the first year or two, a little bit off and on when it came out. So I haven't experienced most of these for shit. I played the Battle Royale only, like, kinda. Like, a couple times, just casually. So like I haven't touched any of this shit. So Fallout 76 is sitting and haven't played. But I'm sticking with the core games. But yeah, let's start doing the tier list. Okay, Broken Steel. So Broken Steel is interesting, right? It improves the game a lot, but the problem is it's fixing what should have been there. Increases the level cap. Allows it to where you can send companions into the reactor to get an ending where you actually live. Which was something that was brought up a bit when the game originally came out. Now, it adds a nice post-game, which is really good. It's not too long, but it's nice. But in my honest opinion, I feel like Broken Steel spends a lot of time, or a lot of things, adding quote-unquote to the game, that instead it was actually just fixing. Now, maybe there's smaller things that I might not be thinking of, but the only thing keeping it from S tier is because it spends half of it trying to fix what should have been there in the first place. Automatron for Fallout 4. Actually, these are all kind of... Actually, here, let's organize this a little. Okay. Automatron is getting a B. So, a lot of these Fallout 4 DLCs, not including Nuka World and Far Harbor, more so just, like, added, like, quest lines. Or, well, at least, like, a quest line. And then, they just added more to the base game. They weren't anything too major. So they're probably not going to be, any of them are probably not going to be that high. But let's get into it. Automatron, I thought was neat. It adds a bunch of robot shit, a neat quest, another companion. Like, it's cool. It doesn't do anything crazy, but it doesn't do anything that's shitty. It's just nice. It's just nice. Contraptions is going in C. It was fine. It was never really a big deal to me. Same with this one, Wasteland. It's fine. Not a big deal to me. Vault-Tec I did actually like. I thought the questline and being able to have a base that's within a vault was cool. Because we never really got to do that in the previous games, and I'm glad they took the opportunity to make a DLC for it. Okay. Far Harbor. Far Harbor is an S. In my opinion, it is the best DLC Bethesda has ever made. Emphasis on Bethesda, because Obsidian made some pretty buck fucking heaters, and we'll get into those. But Far Harbor did so many things right. It did nothing but slap. It added a large enemy variety, added more to the music that was really good. It went more into... I liked it a lot, partially because it went into like a synths, and I'm big on Railroad. I always have been. I know I'm part of like the 1%, but that's always neat. So I like that it put a little bit of an emphasis on that, but also they gave the children of Adam like an actual, like, pretty much throughout the series, as far as I can remember, they were kind of just there. Like, they're just like a minor group that never involved themselves in much, or were never involved in much. So having them be a focal point in the DLC was really nice to see. And it's so good. It's so good because they're actually compelling to an extent. Now, in my opinion, they're still kind of big assholes and Colt, and I don't fuck with that, but it is cool that they did that. And the side quests, dude. I mean, some of them are kind of like, like they're smaller, but like the murder mystery quest, dude, it's so good. It is so good. Like, it's hard not to put it in S. And Nuka World. So Nuka World is going to go in A. Touching back, similar with Far Harbor, Nuka World, and tying back to Broken Steel, Nuka World didn't have to fix anything. It just added, it made a It brought in a good experience and added to the base game. It allowed you to bring raiders to the wasteland, which is really cool. It added more building, and they could collect shit, and then you could come and take it as payment because you're the overboss. And it wasn't trying to just fix shit so much. The main thing that holds Nuka World back for me is, unless you're following the main quest, which is going through the like the different amusement parks, the different areas, and doing all sorts of shenanigans there, which were fun. Don't get me wrong, those were fun. But if you were to try and go or do anything anywhere else, it was pretty barren and pretty bland. I had a hard time finding a whole lot to do other than a side quest or two outside of the main areas. A lot of it was kind of just there, and it wasn't great. But the core experience is good, and that gives it a high A. Another downside I guess I can mention is just that you can't finish the plot without pissing off Preston, because as soon as you bring raiders into the Commonwealth, you can't have them as a companion anymore. Which, I mean, if you don't use them as a companion, isn't a big deal anyway. But it's kind of just annoying. Because, like, on your first playthrough, like I did, I wanted to play through the whole quest line and then kill all the raiders. But I couldn't do that without pissing off Preston, so I kind of just had to bite that bullet. But again, it was fine, because I don't really use them anyway. But it was still kind of annoying. But other than small things, Nuka World was really good. For the most part, I wouldn't put it in S. It wasn't like a heater. It wasn't Far Harbor level. Or some of the others that are going to be put here. But it's definitely a high A and is not one to sleep on. Dead Money. I'm putting Dead Money in A. I love the meaning behind it. Like, the story and the plot behind it is really good. The setting is really good. Alright? And being able to pretty much sack the vault and take all of its contents of straight gold and just running off like a bandit is fantastic. But on the downside, you have all your gear ripped from you for the entire DLC, which sometimes isn't much of a problem, but the enemies and stuff are kind of just a pain in the dick. The companions are really good, like they're all compelling and all unique and interesting. I personally, if I were to put it my own personal list, with my own biases, it would probably be a low S. But I am going to keep it an A because I want to be fair. I wouldn't be surprised if people were to put it in B, to be honest. I can understand why people may not like it at all. But I'm putting it in A because I personally like it, and I've never really had much of a problem with the combat. But if you're not spec'd, it's kind of a pain in the ass, just with all the combat and stuff. But yeah, no, Dead Money will get a low A. Courier Stash. Courier Stash is similar to Contraptions and Wasteland for me. It didn't really do anything special. And even then, Courier Stash kind of just handed you some gear. Like, it's not bad. It's just something that was added. So you get a couple more weapons, like Caravan Shotgun, the grenade launcher. Like, those are nice, right? Those are nice. But it doesn't do anything for me to want to put it up higher. Oh, wait, you're a spider. Huh. I didn't realize there's a spider crawling up in front of my face. Oh, well, it was really small. It's fine. But it just didn't do a lot. And compared to its brother, Gunrunner's Arsenal, Gunrunner's I'd actually put in B. Not only does it add the GRA stuff, so like some of the mods and stuff, but it also adds the gun runner challenges, which I have 100% New Vegas on Steam, so I had to do some of those, and it's really cool. Some of them are just funny; they're not even hard. Like smack Mr. House over the head with a 9-iron. Like it's cool, it's great, but it doesn't do anything to necessarily put it any higher. So it gets a low B. Because it's not like Automatron where it adds like a quest line and stuff like that, but it definitely shouldn't be put in the same tier as Courier Stash because it actually adds to the base experience. Honest Hearts. Honest Hearts is getting an S. It has one of the best and just one of the best written characters made in the entire Fallout franchise. I'm not going to say he's the best because that's debatable, but one of the best being Joshua, or the Burning Man, or whatever you want to say. He is one of the best characters and just one of the most enjoyable companions you could have. He is fantastic. He is well written. You even hear mentions of him from the base game, and being able to meet him in this DLC that I believe canonically is the first one that takes place in the timeline. The environment is really good. Some of the side quests are really cool. Um, it's really neat. Now, I will say some of the main quest is kind of just running around, but thankfully it's not too long, so it's not like it doesn't feel like by the time if it does start to feel boring, you're already going to be moving on to more interesting parts. So it was, for overall, the lows are very, very minuscule, and the highs are so high. So it earns itself an S. It's not going to be second S, but it gets an S. Lonesome Road. Lonesome Road, in my opinion, and is the best DLC. But it's very tied close to Far Harbor. It's very tied close to Far Harbor. The main reason that I'm putting it one higher is because going back to Far Harbor has one quest that I know a lot of people don't like. It's that weird building puzzle quest that takes place like what, towards the middle end of the game or the DLC, like the 70%, 75% area. I personally didn't mind it. I got it done with no guides and such in like 35, 40 minutes. Which, I mean, if you're not bad at puzzles, it's not a big deal. Like, it'll be done, but sometimes you just don't want to do it, and I can get it. And that's like the one thing for me that holds it back from being number one. Also, partially just because like the puzzles can be kind of mind-numbing. Now, if you're doing it like your second or third time and you know how to do it, you can probably just speedrun it in like 20-ish minutes. But it still is kind of just something you have to trug along. So Lonesome Road puts it over. And the reason why I put Lonesome Road in itself for number one is the whole point of it. It's difficult. It's the end, I like to say, of Fallout New Vegas. It is the end of you as a courier. Sure, there's the stuff with Hoover Dam, and you fight for that. But Lonesome Road, in my opinion, is the pinnacle. It's like the actual final point. It connects all the DLCs. It is an extremely hard DLC, especially if you're not well built, or have a well build and not close to max level. It will punish you. Many scaled up enemies, many of them are hard. Like, if you want to do this DLC, like, somewhat okay at least, for like an average person doing it for the first time, I'm not saying this is how it is for all of us vets, it's gonna be like around like 30, I want to say. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure some of the Death Claws levels or their stats scale up with your level. I could be wrong on that. Don't correct me. Or, well, no, you can correct me. My bad. Don't quote me on it. It's 1 a.m. Leave me alone. I've been up since like 10 p.m. No, 10 a.m. You get the fucking point. And then there's Ulysses. You know who I'm talking about. Monologue Man with the dreads. Alright, he's cool as shit. The faction you align with will have dialogue options pop for you. You have Ed, who is your really... I think they're called Ed. Ed, whatever. The iBot. They're adorable. Yes, I went and looked for all the posters. Yes, I did all that. I loved it. Lonesome Road adds some really cool armor. It's really unique, and like you kind of accidentally nuke a little settlement. Like, it is great, and the antagonist really feels like he's just kind of just mocking you almost. It's great. It's fantastic. Unlike Fallout 3 and 4, where all the DLCs were separate from each other, this one to me feels like the real pinnacle for Fallout New Vegas. Like, at that final fight, that really felt like a boss fight. You were at the end. And to me, that is really, really cool. Because in like Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, you get the ending and then your character kind of just moves on or whatever. I mean, obviously you don't see it, but they kind of just go on. This DLC, it feels like there's a final point. I guess that's just where I'm trying to get at. Old World Blues. So Old World Blues is probably going to be a low S. The main reason for it is it's a bit of a small reason, but I don't feel justified putting it in A because these have like genuine like issues. But Old World Blues has some annoyances, but they're not bad. So Old World Blues would take away your gear like briefly, if I recall, like hardly. So like it's not a problem. But it doesn't try to be serious or hardcore. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? It's very funny. All the NPCs are great. All like the little AIs that you can go and grab parts and bring them back to life. Do you know how many cups of coffee robot brains and jars use on a daily basis? Not fucking many! Like, it's great. Some of them are just hilarious. I'm sorry if I said that quote not entirely 100%. It's been a minute since I've listened to it, but I hope you guys understand the one I'm referencing. It adds some cool weapons. Alright, it adds some cool ass weapons. But other than that, I don't like that you can't leave, because Old World Blues, the hub for it, is arguably like the best hub you can find in like the entire game. It has everything there at like your little base of operations, quote unquote. But you can't leave, so you kind of have to beat the whole DLC to be able to like move on, or like be able to have all the, like access to all the resources that you can transfer over to the base game. And if I remember right, if you want to change your appearance, it has to be in this DLC, or like your change. So if you like made your character in the base game and you don't end up liking it after like the cutoff point in the very beginning, you pretty much have to do the DLC so you can change your appearance and then go back to the main game. But besides that, it doesn't try to be too serious. It tries to be very funny, tries to be very comical, and a very just overall good vibe experience. And it does it really well. But it just has some annoyances that keeps it from being really high. And it's going to go down as we add some of these. Mothership Zeta. Mothership Zeta is going to be. I don't like Zeta. It is my least favorite DLC. Like, I'm going to be honest, it annoys me so much, I'm putting Gunrun or GRA above it. Now, the main reason. Zeta felt boring. It felt very boring. The last 5% with, like, the mini game where you're shooting a laser back at another ship, that was cool. The 95% before it was just a giant chore list. Unlike Nuka World, where it tied itself to each different amusement park as hosting its own experience that was unique, fun, and different themes. Mothership Zeta was just run over to this room, fix or break this, and then go over here to the next room, and then to the next room. Oh, kill these enemies because they're being annoying. And it just sucks. And there's some neat weapons too, which also is a big disappointment. I think my favorite was the revolver that you can get dropped from one of the NPCs if you were to murder him. I don't remember his name, but I just remember killing him for his revolver. But even then, there's only like a few, like a very small amount of added enemy types and that's how it kind of was for a lot of the other older DLCs, but they were just different alien types and actually weren't unique. So there's just a lot of just with this DLC, and that was kind of unfortunate. But yeah, it's gonna have to be thrown in B. It's gonna be the only like main DLC that's gonna be thrown in B, which goes to show how much I didn't like it. All right, Point Lookout. So Point Lookout is gonna go in S. It's gonna go over Old World Blues. Just because Old World Blues had its like small annoyances that can be kind of a pain, sort of. It just depends on how you feel about whatever. But Point Lookout, I think, is one of the best Fallout 3 DLCs. And funny enough, if I recall, yeah, it's the only Fallout 3 DLC that doesn't strip you of your gear, which is kind of I'm pretty sure you can get your gear back in Zeta pretty soon, which is nice. But Point Lookout is the only one where you have your gear and you go to finish. It's an open area with a good bit to do. There's side quests, you can go explore places. And what's funny is that the main quest is just years on years on years, decades on decades. Ever since, like, what, pre-war? 2 politicians have been at each other's throats, and you're just there to help them kill each other. And it's great. There's a cult, like a maniac cult, and full of a bunch of incested hillbillies. It is great. The environment, it's in a swampy environment. It's shit. It looks like shit. And it does a great job at it. And it doesn't add anything, like any, like, over-the-top weapons. It sticks to a theme. And I like that. It does a good job. And there's still vendors. But for the most part, it's enjoyable. It's cool. And then there's that entire acid trip of a main quest, like, towards the midway through, which is always a fun experience. So, like, it's neat. What's not neat, though, is getting stat checked. But that's kind of how a lot of these DLCs are. Alright, Operation Anchorage. I feel kind of bad for putting this in A. I feel a little bad. I'm gonna put it over Dead Money, but these are very close. I want to put emphasis on it. These are very close, and they are very far from Mothership Zeta. Very far ahead from it. Actually, I'm gonna throw Nuka World over Broken Steel. I need to make sure that's set. But, well, okay, hear me out. I already said my points about Broken Steel, but it had to work too hard to fix the base game. That could have been actual, like, unique shit. But it was a 5th DLC to Fallout 3. Anyway, Operation Anchorage. So, Anchorage, so for a first time, it is a great experience. It's a quick 2 to 3 hour Call of Duty-like missions, where towards the end you can, like, have, like, a party of NPC soldiers, and you can choose what types you have, what kind of weapon kit you got, and the power armor you get for completing it is dope as fuck, and it's, like, some of the best armor you can get in the game. But really, what holds this back is replayability. Once you play it once, you get the entire experience. There's no side quests, there's no, like, real exploration. It is as linear as it can possibly get. It is the most linear DLC in the series. And that says quite a bit, because some of these are pretty linear. Like, Dead Money is pretty linear, Mothership Zeta is pretty linear, The Pit is pretty linear, even to an extent Lonesome Road is pretty linear. But Anchorage is as linear as it gets, as it could get. And for replayability, it's really hard to make it unique. But it's not bad. It is good. It is a great experience. I honestly kind of just wish it was longer, because you can speedrun the fuck out of this DLC. Alright. The Pit. The Pit's also going in S. I'm going to keep it behind Overworld Blues, and I'm going to get into it. So, The Pit is another one of those DLCs that made the atmosphere is very intimidating. Everything is shit. Everyone feels like shit. It is between slavers and the slaves. And what is nice is because Fallout 3 was Fallout 3, it was definitely a bit more hardcore. I would say it's more gory, it's more sensitive. You can buy a slave for yourself. And I don't think any of the other Fallout games, like Fallout New Vegas and 4 would let you do that. Alright, like, this is, like, Fallout 3 is still, like, thematically pretty old Fallout. That being said, if you wanted to be very evil, you could be very evil. If you want to be very good, you could be very good. There's a morality to that DLC, and you can kind of pick. And what that is really nice, because a lot of these are pretty, like, stuck to their experience. Where The Pit, you can replay it, and like do favor more towards the slavers or favor towards more of the slaves. So even though there isn't a whole lot of exploration you can do, there's some, but there's not a lot. It still has more replayability. Now, it adds some interesting weapons. Not too many things crazy, to be honest. But some of the concepts are good. Like the trogs are neat, right? They're like, there's the battle dome, like the arena section that you partake in that is cool. And then there's the whole dilemma with like the baby, and I know we all thought you could cannibalize the baby, but it was actually a mod. I too thought you could. I literally picked up the cannibalism perk just for it on my playthrough, which is kind of hilarious. But I can also kind of understand why people might not like it. One, it strips you of your gear for like, what, half of the DLC? 2/3 of the DLC? Something like that. So you don't have that shit for a while. And it's just kind of eh. It's kind of eh. Okay, well, I need to elaborate on that. I'm just trying to put my thoughts together. Really the only, like, new enemy types are the trogs, which them in themselves are cool. They're cannibalistic and, like, insane people. But they're kind of just annoying. I'm gonna be honest, they're kind of just annoying. Like, there's nothing too special about them, like, to any right home, other than, like, their lore. But besides that, they're kind of just gameplay-wise annoying. Also, I'm not gonna lie, having to, like, blend in with the slaves is kind of, like, the low part of the DLC, just because it's just eh. It's not really too exciting. But, like, this, as much as the second half is, where you can just, it's just a slaughter, which is fun. But for what it is, it's really good. But yeah, to go back onto the points, the reason why it's S, it's got solid replayability. It has a solid morality within its story. And its story itself is pretty good and a bit hardcore, similar to how like the older Fallout stuff was. Or at least I think so. You teach their own, you can disagree. It was definitely more dark or darker. And the atmosphere was really good at making you feel like shit. So that's what earns it S. I know it's not everybody's favorite either. So I'm keeping it a low S, but it has too many things going for it for me to feel comfortable putting it in A. Because like if I put it in A, it's going to be a really high A. But I'm going to give it a low S. But yeah, this is the list. I am sorry that I uploaded a video of this earlier. I was doing it last night. I didn't even bother to fucking view it to make sure everything was ready. My audio shit was broken on OBS. So like I don't remember why, but I had my desktop audio turned off. And OBS had defaulted my mic away from my normal microphone. Like I didn't even have OBS on the second monitor. It was like 2, 3 in the morning. I was at the end of a work day. Like I was exhausted. And I just didn't. That was bad. It was bad. But yeah, no. So I have moved into this new place. I got a job. Yeah, I said it. I'm sorry. I gave you guys PTSD. Wake up. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so this is the list. If you have your own thoughts and opinions, feel free to list them down. But for the most part, yeah, this is my list. I should have more videos coming. It's not going to be as frequent as like the one every 3 days because, well, I'm a bit busier now with like work. Not like busy, but I'm still getting shit situated. But besides that, should have a Termina video coming whenever the hell they want to actually drop the DLC, or not the DLC, the big ass update that's coming. Maybe I'll pick up 76 at one point and make a couple videos on it. I don't know. It has been years since I picked up that game, and I'm still not entirely sure if I feel like playing it. But that's that. I'll see you all later. Have a good one.